Hello and welcome to Odds on Euro Match Day 3, Group C and D. You can see we have Tom Rennie back to analyze his England, to criticize Southgate, probably. Hello, Tom Rennie. Welcome back.
It's 𝐿𝐭𝐚𝐲. Hello.
And we have Alain Valnegri to analyze France and how they suffered without Mbappé. Hello, Alain Valnegri.
Hello, France is the only team in the Euro with who no player have yet scored. In the first games, no French player have scored, and this is the only team.
Well, no Mbappé, no party. Griezmann missing chances. Maybe you need Lukaku to have goals, even if they are disallowed. Who knows? Well, guys, remember to comment the video with us, telling us your tips, and of course, show some love. Press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. All the games on Tuesday. Let's start with Group C. Late kickoff is at 9 p.m. German time. And let's start with England, Slovenia, because we have Tom Rennie fresh to analyze England. This poor England, we have to say, we didn't like them in the first game against Serbia. We didn't like them in the second game against Denmark. It's clear that Alexander-Arnold in midfield is not working. Southgate said after the game, what I don't think leaves him in a very good place, that they are trying to replace Calvin Phillips 3 years later, and now they have to beat Slovenia, a team that is surprising us in these Euros. Slovenia, they have to win to qualify. Tom, I'm sure you are not liking England, and it's funny, the map of color, when they scored against Denmark, then the team just went into their box to defend the lead.
Yeah, I mean, look, with England, I still think they are amongst the favourites to win the competition. Before it began, as you know, I didn't predict they would win it, but I think they're still in the top 3 or 4 favourites to win it. And I think it's fair to say there's room for improvement from the first 2 games of the tournament. Look, I think that Alexander-Arnold, you're right to pick that out. Everyone has picked that out. The Calvin Phillips comment was weird. You can understand it to a degree because you do need someone more progressive alongside what he envisages Gareth Southgate, Declan Rice to be. And they haven't found that player. But if you haven't found that player, you don't just throw in Liverpool's maverick right back into an unfamiliar position in a major tournament. It doesn't make any sense to do that. And Trent Alexander-Arnold has lots of terrific qualities, but playing number 6, number 8 for England alongside Declan Rice is simply not one of them. And what's frustrating for a lot of England supporters, and I'm sure football supporters around the world, is that I want to see a midfield of Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden. Make it work. Work on it. Find a way for those 3 players to play together. Can they not play with some discipline if you're Bellingham for 90 minutes? They say, the Spanish journalists and indeed La Liga have voted him MVP in La Liga for Real Madrid's Champions League winning team. Yes, he played further up the field, but I think he can play deeper. He can play different positions. That's the game. So find a way to make that midfield work. You're not going to get pressing from Harry Kane. Buy and play pace on each side, so he doesn't need to do that. Tottenham used to do that when he was in his pomp for them. And yet England are now playing Phil Foden over on one side and nullifying any threat that Harry Kane has got, dropping deep to pacey wingers, because you stop Saka, Foden comes inside, Kane doesn't press, and then there is no attacking trio that works. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. And the frustrating thing is that Southgate has had so long to work on it, and yet it feels like he has just turned up raw to this tournament. Looking ahead to this particular game, it's evident that criticism has stung with some of the England players. You may have seen the interviews with Declan Rice and Harry Kane in recent days. That may well have a galvanising effect on the squad. But look, I don't think it's a lack of being galvanised. I don't think it's a lack of players not wanting to win. I don't think it's a lack of effort. There was plenty of effort on show in both games for England. What's missing is direction. What's missing is style. What's missing is confidence in the tactics being employed. And I have my ideas. I've given you some of them. I don't think Gareth Southgate will change too much going into this particular game. And I think it's evident that England are going to win this group. I think there's very little chance for me that Slovenia are going to lay much of a glove on this England team. England will likely score. They will likely low block. They will likely not create many chances. And Slovenia, though they have shown in both games, they are capable of scoring. They have shown that in people like 𝐬𝐵NJIMIN 𝐶𝐿 and one or two others, they have players who can shoot from distance, who can create, who can, if they can get in behind, cause some damage, as we saw at points against Denmark in the game, I think, in the first round. But I don't see anything in Slovenia that's going to damage England. I think England will go on to win, not comfortably, but by a low-level, uninspiring scoreline. And we have to bumble on to yet another knockout stage when, at some point, we'll play someone good and they will beat England because England simply don't have it against teams that are in the world's top 10. Simple as that.
Well, in terms of bets, this could be an under 2.5 goals because England is not showing a lot of power in attack despite the names. Slovenia could play for the goalless draw because with 3 points, it's very likely that they can qualify. Do you expect a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game with an Slovenian really defensive, Alain?
I think Slovenia do very good Euro until now, but Slovenia play with a really high rhythm during 30 or 45 minutes. After that, they concede. We saw that in the first half against Denmark, and in the last 30 minutes against Serbia, they suffer a lot. They suffer a lot, and is not a team feel comfortable to play with a block really low. They must to produce football. They must to play with a really high rhythm. It will be a test for England. Not maybe in the 90 minutes, but in some phase of the game, Slovenia have that skills to increase the rhythm. And is my question about England. Where is the capacity to change the rhythm of the game? We saw a team play really slow, really conservative. Now, the question is, normally in the history of this type of tournament, we saw a lot of teams start really low. And what is the preparation? Maybe Southgate prepare the team in the physical skills, especially for England, because for England in every competition we ask about the schedule about the English football, Premier League, Champions Cup, FA Cup, 𝐬𝐵𝗏𝗏 is really condensed. It's really difficult to arrive at the competition at the end of the season with that freshness that you need to win the tournament. I think we will have the first answer about this question after the game against Slovenia, because Slovenia respect to especially respect to Denmark. Denmark are not in his best level. I think it's a lucky team right now, because if we analyze what they show and what their sum, I think they don't deserve that Denmark. Now, England, we will see if they start to increase to arrive with a good condition in the 18 of final. For this game, I choose handicap 1.5 for Slovenia, odds 1.78.
Okay, a tight game, perhaps England winning by 1 goal margin. Who would you play alongside Rice? Tom, we saw a really poor Declan Rice. Perhaps was not the player himself, but the strategy and the formation of Southgate.
Yeah, look, I think that was maybe the worst I've seen Declan Rice play ever. In all the years I've seen Declan Rice at very close quarters for West Ham, for Arsenal and for England. And I don't think that was Trent Alexander-Arnold's fault. I think Declan Rice had a really, really poor game. I think everyone had a really, really poor game in the second game for England. I don't think he's going to change anything. I think he should, and I think they should find a way to have a midfield three of Bellingham, Foden, and Declan Rice, and ask Declan Rice to cover the two holding positions. But I don't think Gareth Southgate's going to do that, and I don't think, understandably, he'll have confidence in 𝐻𝐵I or Adam Wharton, because they've barely played football, those two, at the very top level. 𝐻𝐵I, 30 games at the very top level in the Premier League, and Adam Wharton came to the Premier League in January, and look, had a good run for Crystal Palace as they came 10th, but who cares about that? You know, it's fine. It's a good run, and good luck to him, but that's not someone I want to be starting at the European Championship. He shouldn't be there, which kind of shows the dearth of options England have in that position, and why you can't play that formation, because you've not got a player in that position. So, look, I don't know. I think you'll keep it exactly the same. I think England will win this game. I think Alain's absolutely right to go low. I'd be looking the under here, under 2.5 in the game. I don't see Slovenia scoring, so I'd be looking at England potentially win to 0. But yeah, I don't think that England are going to be particularly inspiring in this game. The hope is, to Alain's point, that they get stronger as the tournament goes on. And look, when they went out in the World Cup to France, they played really well in that game. So they did get better from a poor group. They went out, but they played well. So maybe they will improve, but it won't be in this game. Low scoring, uninspiring. England get through, and we hope for better.
Well, Tony Kroos said yesterday the tournament is kicking off now in the last 16. If you're looking for player bet, Harry Kane to score at any moment is 2.0. Jude Bellingham to score is 3.25 at any moment. As I said, Slovenia with a draw, they could go through, because we have now Hungary with 3 points and -3. So the goal average is really poor. Perhaps in Group B, also Albania and Croatia, they could stay with 1 point. Therefore, if they get 3 points with a goal average of 0, if they get a point here, they are through to the last 16 round. The next game in this group is Denmark-Serbia. Also, the draw should be enough for Denmark to qualify. Serbia, they need to win, but we don't like this Serbia, or at least I expected a little bit more, even if they always disappoint us in the big tournaments. They were lucky to get a draw thanks to the header scored by 𝐬𝐵𝐺 against Slovenia. In the last games between these two teams, Denmark won the last 3, and it's true that we are not seeing a great Denmark, Alain, but it could be enough, I guess, to beat this Serbia. Denmark to win pays all right. It's 2.2.
Yeah, it's a really difficult game to predict, because Serbia, respect to the World Cup, I think Serbia improved in the phase in no possession ball. The defense is better, but it's really strange to see Serbia scored only 1 goal in 2 games with that offensive potential. Because Mitrovic, Vlahovic, Jovic from the bench, you have 𝐿𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐿, you have Tadic. The technical level is really, really high in the offensive phase. Now, where was the problem is the question in the first 2 games. I think against England, they defend really well in the first half. In the second half, they create something, and Pickford quit the goal to Vlahovic. And the analysis of the second game is difficult, because I think Slovenia, Serbia, we can have a rational analysis. We have a lot of things move in the heads of the player, and with that component is difficult to play with the idea really clear. I think Jovic found this goal can be probably the goal can unlock the team and to play more free against Denmark. Denmark signs the World Cup. I have a lot of doubt about Denmark. They do a brilliant Euro 2021, but that doesn't confirm especially the model of play. The model of play really direct. It was a team with played with a lot of passion, maybe to play in Copenhagen have something influence in the team. And in the first two game, I think there was lucky to found England played only 20 minutes in his second game, and against Slovenia in the second half, they suffer a lot the technical skills of Slovenia. I think we will be see a similar game against Serbia. I think Serbia will be make his best game in this Euro. For this game, I choose over 8.5 corner. Is both teams are the highest team with the corner in the Euro, odds 1.57.
We know how funny this Serbia can be when they have to attack and they need to win or they are out of the Euros. Their numbers in the big tournaments are so bad. 7 games without a win in big tournaments since World Cup 2018 against Costa Rica. In this match, Tom, there are 2 strikers that you really like, 𝐻oilund and Mitrovic.
Yeah, for different reasons. I think Alexander Mitrovic, I haven't seen him since he's gone to Saudi Arabia because I value my time. But during his time in England, I think he's been absolutely terrific. A battering ram of a striker, terrific attitude, terrific spirit, great ball control, one of the best headers of a ball that I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years in football. I think he's terrific. I'm not sure how much of a captain he is, but certainly someone, if you get his head right, can be a real leader in this Serbian team. But look, to Alain's point, I think he's absolutely right. Serbia, for me, remember a couple of years ago, I can't recall if it was the last Euros or the World Cup, so forgive me for not remembering which tournament, but we all thought Turkey were going to be good. Do you remember that? And everyone was like, oh, Turkey are going to be amazing here. And then they were the worst team in the competition.
Euros.
I thought it was at the Euros, thank you, 3 years ago. I thought it was going to be Serbia, this tournament. I really fancied Serbia to do well in this group. I think you've got a weak Denmark. I think you've got a pretty average-looking England, and you've got a pretty poor Slovenia. So second place, if not first place, well up for grabs in this group. And you're watching them, and you know, we listed out the quality of player earlier on. No one's had a good tournament. No one's had a good game. Mitrovic has not really looked the player I was expecting. Vlahovic has offered nothing. I like 𝐿𝐿𝐴 in midfield. At times for Fulham this year, I think he's looked really decent, better than Palhinha at points. And he's offered nothing in a progressive sense, nor has he offered a great deal of protection for the back three. As much as he should have done. Certainly in the first half against England, I thought he was quite poor. Look, I think the defensive three have done all right. The keeper's done all right. But offensively, Serbia have been nowhere near good enough. And that gives me pause here because I thought they would win the second game. I thought they would land a glove on England in the first game. And now in my mind says they're going to beat this Denmark team because Denmark are poor. The defensive three of Christensen, Andersen, and 𝐻oilund 𝗵𝗡𝗏, for goodness sake, 𝐻oilund 𝗵𝗡𝗏, give me a break. You know, 𝗵𝐵𝐵e 𝘄 was nearly 40. You know, he couldn't catch a cold at this point in his career. I think Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has probably been their best player so far in the tournament. That maybe says all there is. And Rasmus Højlund, to your point about the strikers, I do really like Rasmus Højlund. I think there's great potential there. But a bit like when you've seen him at Man U this year, he's sort of lumbering around, running down blind alleys, not looking like someone who is dangerous in the 6-yard box, which I think is going to be his game. So I think got taken off of Paulson in the last game as well, a player who's long over the hill. So it's a tricky one, this, because in my mind, I think Serbia are better player for player. I think Serbia should have already got out of this group and should have had more points than they've got. And I think Denmark are doing well to cling on to the last vestiges of a team that were really good 3 to 5 years ago. So I want to say Serbia, but I'm not gonna. What I'm going to say here, look at the pattern of results, look at low scoring, look at the under 3.5 market, maybe even the under 2.5 market. Wouldn't be surprised to see a 1-0 win either way here. But what I feel like is it screams 1-1 draw. I know that's what Denmark have done in the first 2 games. I can't see either of these 2 teams scoring the second killer goal. So look at the draw market. 3.65 for a draw. Love that. And a draw with both teams to score. That's 1-1 following the Denmark pattern. 4.75. But under, disappointing. Pick a winner, low scoring. But for me, draw, both teams score.
Well, Serbia need to win, as I said. If you go for the under, you have better odds, 2.1. The bookies expect a high-scoring game. under is 1.8. Also, Serbia disappointed us in the last World Cup. I think was everyone's dark horse, and they couldn't even beat Cameroon, for instance, with that 3-3 draw, or they lost to Switzerland 3-2 in the last World Cup with a very chaotic, anarchic style of play. Let's see if they are able to beat Denmark, always better organized. And let's jump into Group D. Here we have Netherlands, France, and Austria. Probably all three will be in the last 16 round. Poland, they are on the way to Warsaw, to going home on holidays. First game, France, Poland. Alain, you mentioned at the beginning the problems for France to score goals in the first game against Austria. They created a good amount of chances, but we even saw Mbappé missing a couple of clear ones. Griezmann is not having his tournament. Giroud is on the bench. We are not having 𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐻, a player that I guess we all liked. Without Mbappé, the Champs decided to put 𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐻 instead of Mbappé. They could have lost that game against the Netherlands. I guess now it's time to get some confidence for the last 16 round with a good game against Poland.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery when you see France playing with this potential in every line. Where is the problem with the goal now? First, only strikers score in France. The midfielder doesn't score. That one is a big limit. And the striker right now, except Mbappé, doesn't arrive in a really, really good form. We don't see the best version of Dembélé, 𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐻, Thuram. We don't understand where is his best position. This season he play really near to Lautaro Martinez, but he's a player start to play like left winger. I don't understand why Deschamps doesn't call Olise and Mateta from Crystal Palace, because they're, in my opinion, for the moment of form and the season and the psychology, no, the striker leave with good game, with goals, with assist. I think one of the two players of Crystal Palace should be in that list. Now Deschamps must to find solution, because we know the team probably is the best team in defensive phase, but the team must to start to create something more, to be a little more crazy, because it's so conservative. A lot of game of France are really boring. You can say that after for the normal fans. After, if you analyze the tactical match plan, without the ball is the devil. Deschamps is the devil, because he limit every team. Now the last team is a really good opportunity to France to unlock his striker. Poland, we see something better respect to the last World Cup in front of the goal, but we saw a defensive phase with a lot of problem. And 𝐬𝐭𝐴 is not playing in the same level that the last World Cup. I think this game we don't will be see a lot of pressure for both team. I can't imagine Lewandowski without score in this competition, and I think France will be score a goal finally, because two games without player goals, because it was auto goal in the first game. And I choose both teams to score odds 2.00.
Well, France need to win to grab the first spot. Right now is Netherlands topping this group. Harry is telling us Griezmann masterclass. Will Mbappé play, Alain? I don't think so, right? Probably he will.
The history of 𝐬𝗵𝗵𝗀. We see two different masks before the game in front of Holland, but he doesn't play. It was only marketing to sell some mask we saw in the stadium.
El Zorro is coming. 𝐬𝗵𝗵𝗀. Tom, if you have a midfield with 𝐿𝐿𝐻𝐿 and 𝗵𝐶𝐿, I guess you are one of the best defensive teams in the world. It's very difficult to pass this line.
Yeah, look, they are the best defense in the European Championship. They have one of the best midfields in the European Championship. And I think we saw in the first couple of games that 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 𝐿𝐻𝐿 has benefited from playing semi-retirement football in Saudi Arabia for the last year. He looks fresh and he looks lively. He looks like the player we saw at Chelsea 3 years ago and Leicester, 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was. So that's going to make a massive difference to France. So, it's worth noting from last major tournament successes, no Paul Pogba in midfield leaves a dearth of creativity in that deep lying position that someone like Rabiot or Camavinga, they've got lots of great qualities, but they don't have those qualities. And I think that's quite evident when you see France in games like the Austria match, just struggling to create, struggling to find that offensive rhythm. But I think in this particular game, this is a dolly of a fixture. It's a poor Poland, right? It's a really, really poor team they're going to face in this particular game. Robert Lewandowski, who's not been fit enough to play, whether he plays or not, it's kind of irrelevant because the team around him, the level has dropped over the years. And there's nothing in this Poland team that should strike fear in the heart of any French man or woman watching this game. Defensively weak. Jan Bednarek is not a top quality centre-half. 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲, some talk about him going to Serie A this week. Couldn't quite believe Arsenal were possibly going to get some money for this painfully average defender. Defensively weak, offensively poor. The covering midfield is not particularly good. And 𝗲𝗏𝗏 𝐻𝐿𝐻 in goal is way past his best. So loads of negatives there for Poland. And look, I take the point completely that France haven't scored a goal in terms of their own players in the tournament so far. And, you've got 𝐬𝗵𝗵𝗀, who I don't think will play in this game. What will be the point, considering that France are going to be through? He missed that great chance in one of the games. Antoine Griezmann missed a couple of sitters in the last match. Dembele's not quite hit form. Giroud's not really played. Marcus Thuram's missed a couple of sitters. And as Alain mentioned, has not quite found a position yet. But I think in this really relaxed environment where, it's important to win the group, absolutely. But against the poor team, I think France can relax, flex their muscles, get a couple of those situations where no one scored yet. I think that's going to be gone in this game. No chance Poland score a goal. Absolutely no chance Poland score. So I'm looking here for a France victory. France win 2-0. And in fact, I'm going to be really confident. I think some players are going to hit their straps here. And I think they're going to score a few goals. So I'll be looking at the handicap market. I know that you're not confident, but I feel confident here that France find a way to score a few goals. Look at the -1.5 for me. I'll take -2.5. Bold, I know. But I think some players are going to score some goals here. And -2.5 for France brings you at 3.28. That feels even short for me, again, considering Poland are rubbish. So bet against them.
Well, they met in the last World Cup. Was a 3-1 result for France. Perhaps we see Colomwani, Camavinga, who didn't start in the last two games. Perhaps we see him from the beginning, and this France is a little bit more flexible than the rigid one with Rabiot, Kanté, and in the second game also 𝐿𝐻𝐿𝐻. By the way, before we go to the last game, remember that we have a competition running in 𝐿𝐵𝐻. You can participate, and 3 lucky winners can get €100 cash prize. We have the link in the description. You have to click and tick some social tasks, and the more you participate, the higher the odds of winning. So just check the description box to participate. There you have to participate in this competition. 500 entries so far. Not bad, but these videos are watched by much more people. So click on them. And the last game is a very good one, I would say. Netherlands, Austria. Probably these two teams, I wouldn't say they are overperforming, but they are meeting at least the expectations. Netherlands, perhaps not in the first game. That was a bit rigid against Poland, but they played well against France. A lot of controversy about this goal. It was should have been disallowed or not. We are seeing a good 𝐿𝐿𝐴, especially Xavi Simons. We also saw Frimpong, a player that I was missing in the first game, and he started against France, and a very good Austria. Some people are still saying that they could be the dark horse. They are playing well with Baumgartner, or whatever, how you pronounce this name, making an impact in the game. Tom, how do you pronounce Baumgartner? Could be something like this.
Well, I'm going to anglicize it and say Baumgartner, but I'm sure that's wrong as well.
Sounds good. Sounds good. How do you see this Netherlands, Austria? Did you like Netherlands, for instance, against France?
Yeah, I did actually. Look, I think that they are maybe the most English team in the tournament, apart from England themselves, in that they're playing the formation that everyone in England plays these days, 4-2-3-1. I think that the manager, Ronald Koeman, has noted that they don't have a particularly strong offense, but they do have a lot of really good kind of 6 out of 10 players that can, on their day, do something magic and then go back to being quite average. You know, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has been a kind of poster boy for the Dutch for quite some time. Memphis Depay, occasionally brilliant, but generally pretty average. Cody Gakpo, occasionally brilliant, but generally pretty average. And I think that Ronald Koeman has quite rightly, maybe like Gareth Southgate, but I don't care as much, so it doesn't annoy me as much, has decided to be like, right, well, let's not concede. We'll score a goal in most games. We'll get out the group, and then we'll see where we are. It could have got them success in the last World Cup when they eventually got knocked out by Argentina, but they played a very similar... it was not low block so much, but it's conservative and it's cautious and it's try and get a corner, hit them on the break, take the chance when it comes, don't have too many shots on goal, you know, that sort of stuff. And it nearly paid off against France, and it did pay off against Poland. The game plan was slightly, you know, skewed in that game because Poland scored first, but I am impressed. I think they're defensively strong, and I think that's going to stand them in very good stead in this game, where they take on an Austria team who, I think you made a really good point there, in that they have met the expectation of what we expect from a team with this sort of quality. Baumgartner is a kind of Frank Lampard-y sort of player, will turn up late in the box and score from 12 to 15 yards, which he's done in the tournament already. I've always liked 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 offensively. Marko Arnautović, not the player he once was, but coming on for the last half hour, I think it's a really good player to bring off the bench. And my concern is defensively. I don't like Max Wöber. I think he's poor, the lead centre-half who scored an own goal already in the competition against France. I'm not a big fan of Pence. I'm not a big fan of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I think defensively, they will get found out in a lot of games, and it might not be this one, but it will be games when they get out of the group, probably as one of the best third-place finishers. So, look, in this particular game, I don't see a great deal of drama. I think you're going to see two teams that are going to play it fairly cautiously. I think you're going to see two teams who know that they're probably going to get through with a draw here. Might be a little bit like 1982 all over again, where everyone knows the best result, so they just play it a little bit cautious, get the result required, and find their way through it. If you're looking for a tip for this one, I'd look at the under. I'd maybe just pip for Netherlands to beat Austria in an under 2.5 goals match, but don't discount the draw either. But for me, under 2.5 goals and pip for the Dutch.
Actually, the under caught my eye. It pays exactly the same as the over. And even if Austria, we are seeing, Alain, that they are audacious, that they are going forward against good teams like against France. But if they draw, they are qualified. And probably even with a defeat by 1 goal margin, they are also going through. So they don't need to attack.
Warning with this Austria, because I think, in my opinion, in the first game, without Arnautović is another team, especially in the phase with the ball. But without the ball against France, that played really well. Maybe we see the most shy version of Austria. In the second game, we saw a team with more personality, with that mentality about who have a big influence in this team. Rangnick is one of the architects of the Red Bull Salzburg project, and is offensive football. I think that the version against France is not the true version about Austria. And I am really curious too to catch the version of Holland without the ball against a team like Austria, because if we check the individual center back of Holland, they're probably the best team with France, with the quality of the center back. After, with the collective movement, I think it's different, because they concede too much to have the ambition to win the Euro. And right now, Koeman must to find a solution. I think with Xavi Simons in the midfield, with Frimpong to the wing, Holland win something in offensive phase, but in defensive phase, there will be suffer, in my opinion, against Austria, because Austria in the midfield, they really they have the skills to generate superiority, and that one can be one of the key of the game if Xavi Simons play in this midfield. I wait a really funny game. I think that the risk will be really high. Both teams wanna play, and for that reason, I choose the line of Edu with the goals over 2.75 goals, odds 2.17.
Okay, now you decide. Tom is going for the under. Alain is going for the over. If there is a prize for the supporters, I think we can hand them to Holland, to the Dutch team, because they are bringing a lot of orange color to the streets of Germany. And even with Armin van Buuren as a DJ at 9 a.m., they know how to party, and they are showing it to Europe. Well, this is it. This is over for Group C and D. We didn't want to punish too much Tom, only one time to analyze England. There will be more times during the Euros. Remember that you can still participate in our Euro Tipster competition. Is completely free. You just post your tips, and the more you get right, the higher you get in the standings, and the first person gets 500 euro, if I am not mistaken. Everything is written in the competition. Yeah, 500 euro is good money, cash prize. So you can see right now the standings is a Polish guy. So he's not trusting probably his national team. I'm betting against them, and is giving him good Reddits. Well, this is it for our show. Let's finish the video. Tom, your safe bet?
Safe bet is France. With apologies to our friend on the top of the leaderboard there, they are going to beat Poland. I think it's a fairly comfortable safe bet.
Alain?
Me too. France, Poland, France winning.
Okay, this is a super safe bet. Then, Alain, your ACCA?
Holland, Austria over 1.75 goals. Denmark, Serbia over 8.5 corner. England, Slovenia with minus more plus 1.5 handicap, total 3.80.
There you go. Tom?
Yeah, mine's significantly less complicated, because I think we're at the stage now in the competition where we're going to maybe run out of doubles and run out of easy winners. So go for a big double. England, France, both to win. It's low odds, but lump on, you'll do well.
We are not having massive surprises in these Euros. Only Belgium losing to Slovakia could be the biggest surprise so far in the competition, but they are close to qualify also to the last 16, the Belgian team. Well, guys, thank you. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Alain. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Bye-bye.
Ciao.